Art for me has always been a way of wrestling with the human condition. It's a pursuit that asks not only what it means to be human, but also how we can grow more self aware of the conflicts and blessings that shape our existence. In my artistic journey, one of the deepest goals is to capture what the human condition feels like, to portray it in symbols and images that can connect with us on a personal and even spiritual level. I believe that symbols have a profound weight in our world, yet too often we overlook or misunderstand their meaning. My art seeks to recover that weight, to reveal again the power of symbols to speak to our struggle, our endurance, and our hope. Today we focus on one such word. See, growing up in a Christian society and taking on this way of life myself, I have always wrestled with the idea of carrying one's burden, of picking up your cross. This phrase is at the center of Christian teaching. But beyond that, it is a universal truth. Every human must bear weight, responsibility, and suffering in their own life. But the cross as a symbol has not always been understood in the way it is today. In modern times, simply the emblem of Christ and of Christianity. But in the Roman world of the early church, the cross was a symbol of death, humiliation, and disgrace. It was a punishment reserved for slaves, criminals, and those stripped of all honor. Because of this, some in the early church chose not to depict the cross at all. It was too heavy, too shameful, too closely tied to the horrors of death. The cross was a burden not just in physical weight, but in symbolic meaning. It represents suffering, shame, and the stripping away of human dignity. And yet, paradoxically, this is the very symbol that has endured. I admire how traditions like the Catholic Church continue to display the crucifix, or the cross with Christ still on it. Unlike the empty cross often seen in other contexts, the crucifix reminds us not to skip past the weight of suffering too quickly. It forces us to confront the reality of the burden before we move to the hope of resurrection or grace. This tension between burden and redemption is at the heart of this painting that I've created. In Burden, I portray a man carrying his own cross. His head is bowed, his body heavy under the weight, and yet his posture carries a quiet dignity. He embodies the universal struggle of endurance and sacrifice. This is not just a religious burden or anything like that. It is the burden of being human, of holding on to belief, of striving for meaning in the midst of hardship and suffering. The background amplifies this theme, really. The swirling colors of red and gold symbolize the relationship between the finite and the infinite. There are alive, clashing, and blending, a reflection of the turmoil within the human spirit. We all carry questions in our heart. What am I doing this for? What is the meaning of my life? These questions swirl with us like fire, destructive and illuminating. Red represents the urgency of our mortal existence, the blood, the suffering, the passion that defines human struggle. Gold represents the eternal, the transcendent, the pinnacle of value, the possibility that our suffering might not be meaningless after all. Together, they reflect the tension between that lies at the center of the human condition, the razor's edge between despair and hope. Through color and form, Burden speaks to this paradox of struggle, that within heaviness lies the possibility of transformation, that there is a reason to our suffering, that within suffering lies the seeds of redemption. To carry a burden is not simply to be weighed down. It is also to walk a path of endurance, of becoming, of discovering who we truly are. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, click the like button below, subscribe, do all that. Like I said, this is a 12-piece series that I am working on, and I'll be excited to show you guys the next. Let me know what you think in the comments.